Hi, I'm Peter Tragos, host of the Lawyer You Know podcast and YouTube channel. The saying goes, everyone hates lawyers until you need one. Well, I'm here when you need one to answer your questions and give you insight that you didn't know you needed. Along with my partners, Pete Sardis, the professor, who has a finance and business background, and George Tragos, my dad, and the consigliere, a criminal defense giant, we can answer any questions you have. What's up, everybody? We are back for the much anticipated part 3 of Amber Heard's 2016 recorded deposition. It was supposed to be posted the other day at 5 o'clock. I can't remember what time. I guess they had some issues, didn't post it. I don't know if I think they do it live, but I'm not positive actually if they do it live or not. I think they do it live. I haven't watched a single second of this one, so I don't know if it was live or pre-recorded. I think the other ones were live because they have questions and stuff that they answer as they go throughout it. I would love to join them at some time. But during this one, I was just starting an expert depo at the same time it was supposed to drop. So I was deposing an expert while they were talking about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. So I'm going to be talking about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp now on Friday here as we are getting close to the weekend. You will probably be watching this late Friday or maybe over the weekend. So let me know what you're doing this weekend in the comments. Let me know how you feel about this reaction and the analysis that I bring and add to this video. I appreciate Incredibly Average, Brian and Jax, everything that they do posting these videos. It's a lot of fun. It's fun to kind of have some of their comments as well in between. We'll probably cut out a lot of their comments to just listen to the depo, but I'll let him set up, I believe. Hopefully he sets up like what part this is and things like that. So we'll listen to a little bit of that together as well so we can continue our programming, scheduling, things like that. But I appreciate you guys all being here. Let me know if you like this video by hitting the like button and subscribing to our page. Without further ado, let's jump into it.
I think there's going to end up being about, I don't know, 8 parts to this, 7, 8 parts, something like that in total. Each one running about an hour long. Today we're going a little over an hour on it. You know, we may have to pause it. I know some people want us to just run the whole thing. There's moments I think we're just going to have to pause it today because kind of a slow burn gets to it, and then it picks up in the last like 20, 25. I think it gets really, really good, and I think there's going to be some points we're going to have to pause it. I'm going to take some notes here. I'm going to get to comments, and if we start stacking up any sort of comments we need to address, we can pause it as well, because I'd rather address something in the moment rather than if the way I see it, if someone's making a point and they're making a point pretty early and it seems like it's something goes along with what we're
just so you guys know, for the first like 15 or so seconds, there is no sound while she's putting her mic on and stuff. It's not that there's something necessarily wrong with the video. There just is no sound.
Good to know.
Very good point.
All right, shall we dance?
Let's dance.
Let's do it.
All right.
It's almost like I'm with them. All right, here we go.
I'll mute myself.
The record reflects.
This marks the beginning of media number 2 in the video deposition of Amber Depp. The time is approximately 12:25 p.m. and we're back on the record.
Ms. Heard, before we get back to the text we were talking about that you sent to Mr. Depp, I realized that I needed to go over with you a subpoena that was served on you regarding the production of documents. May I do that briefly?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Show me.
Yes, I'm going to be marking as Exhibit H.
So what's interesting is when you get a request for production as a client, it actually goes to your lawyer. So you rely on your lawyer to actually tell you what you're served with, discuss whether or not you're going to produce these things. But you as the client at the end of the day have to answer for this. And if lawyers are never in contact with their client or don't show their client these documents, it can make the client look really bad at a deposition. Let's see how she handles this.
A pleading entitled Respondent's Notice of Deposition of Petitioner Amber Laura Depp and Request for Production of Documents pursuant to Code of Civil Procedure 2025.010. et sec. May I hand this document to you? Sure. Thank you. Ms. Hurd, I want to draw your attention to page 7 of that document. Have you ever received this document?
No.
Okay. Were you ever made aware of this document?
If through counsel, don't answer. Privileged.
That's coaching. If through counsel don't answer, that's privileged. He's coaching her not to answer. She already answered before that she never reviewed this document, which is pretty much what I figured was going to happen because that happens in a lot of cases when we ask questions like this.
Are you going to answer my question?
Yeah, I just did. No, I did not. I've never seen this.
Okay. Drawing your attention to page 7. Ms. Hurd, did you provide all writings, documents, and or communications between you and Raquel Pennington from December 1, 2015 through today?
I didn't.
And regardless of what her answer is, and her lawyer's going to pipe in again, this is important because if she's refusing to answer discovery and she's never even seen it, so her lawyers are making this decision, well, then Johnny Depp's lawyers can bring it before the judge and say, Judge, they're not even giving their client a chance to answer these questions. They're refusing to give us documents that they, the lawyers, should know better. They're not even asking their client if she has them. They're just objecting to them. They have to at least discuss it with their clients. And she's going to be able to ask Amber Heard, do you have text messages with you and Rocky? Do you have text messages with you and Whitney? Where are they? Where do you have them stored? Do you have access to them? Things like that, which your lawyers can't block it or shouldn't be able to block it as much in a deposition. It sounds like hers is going to try to block it.
Received this, so why would I have done that?
Don't give any communications with counsel. And that would include handing them things, talking to them.
Okay, so it should.
She's like, so what should I do?
Mr. Harder has an inaccurate understanding of the attorney-client privilege objection. My questions pertaining to your belief or understanding of things does not ask you for communications with your attorneys. I do not care to know what your attorney said to you or communicated to you. I'm asking about your knowledge or understanding. That's all I'm asking about.
That was not the question, though.
Do you understand what I just said?
Well, not now.
It's confusing because you asked one question about what did you
Mr.
hand
Harder,
them.
I'm not
It's impossible to understand when the lawyers just keep fighting. The witness can't remember what the question even is.
asking you whether you understand. I'm asking the witness.
Look, you just gave a speech, Blair, and I can respond
Blair.
to your speech. Your speech is that you're confusing everybody in the room because your question had to do with, did you produce things? And now you're talking about an understanding. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't either.
Okay. Ms. Hurd, prior to sitting here today, did you ever provide to any other person writings, documents, or communications between you and Raquel Pennington from December 1, 2015 through today?
If your delivery of materials was to counsel, it's privileged. You can't answer.
Again, for the record, that is a misunderstanding of the law, Ms. Hurd.
She is correct. Blair is correct. It's communications, not whether you produced anything to counsel. Because if they answered that none exist, but she did produce some to counsel, then that's a lie. If they objected to them because of whatever reason, that's fine. She is able to know whether or not they exist and were produced. So I agree with Blair on this one.
That's your
And
position.
I'm asking you if prior to today, you ever provided to any other person writings, documents, or communications between you and Raquel Pennington.
And don't answer because we have a difference of opinion as to what the law is. I don't know that anyone's briefed this issue or it's been heard by any court in this case. So I have to respect my position and you respect your position because the way it works with privilege is that if you divulge privilege, it can be a waiver and we have to protect against that. So if the question is asking for any communications that you had with counsel, which would include handing documents or delivery of documents, I believe that to be privileged and I instruct you not to answer unless and until there's a court order that says I'm wrong.
Prior to today, Ms. Hurd, did you provide any other person with writings, documents, and/or communications between you and Elizabeth Mars from December 1, 2015 through today's date pertaining or relating to the incidents of December 2015, April 21, 2016,
If-
or May 21, 2016.
If it's a interaction with counsel, then it's privileged and I instruct you not to answer.
Prior to today's date, or prior to you sitting here, did you provide any of the documents I refer to from Raquel Pennington today in the production you made?
I'm going to instruct you that if what she's asking is an understanding that you have from communicating with counsel, I instruct you not to answer. Whatever documents were produced were produced.
Did you produce any documents today, Ms. Hurd?
We produced documents. We have it on the record. We have it on the record.
Ms.
You were
Hurd,
looking at them. Laura even said there were 2 inches of documents that you just received from Ms. Hurd's counsel.
And all she's asking is if they're responsive to the document production request.
That's
Is it
not
your-
the question.
Is it your position that any documents that are produced under deposition notice are privileged documents and therefore they shouldn't be produced? Just make sure that it's clear,
I
because
just
when
wanna
we
be
make
clear,
our
Mr.
motion in
Hunter.
limine, I want to make sure that you're the one that's taking that position.
I don't know what you're
Because they
talking
won't
about.
be presented at trial. We're going to
I think that's Wasser now. She's crushing him. And this is exactly what you have to do when they make these BS objections. You say, okay, so you're telling me all that's privileged. So you're not going to use any of that at trial then. So you can't use the documents that you don't let us use in this deposition. So as long as we're on the same page, that's fine. You can't use any of these self-serving text messages that are between Amber and her friends. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even understand what you're saying. She's like, I'm repeating what you just said. It's good lawyering on her part. It's very interesting.
exclude them all because obviously you're objecting under the attorney-client privilege.
Oh,
I
this is
love it.
good.
Just tell us.
I love
Keep
it.
going, Blair.
Hang on. Laura, you're being extremely argumentative.
Yeah, it's Laura Wasser. She's like, I love it. Let's keep them all out. All the documents that are good for you that you're saying are privileged now, let's keep them all out.
And you're completely out of line.
So sorry.
Documents were produced, and we have made that clear.
Oh, man.
If you can't handle being in the room, maybe you shouldn't be in the room.
It's my room, babe. Please keep going.
Ms.
Did she say, babe? It's my room, babe? Is that what she said? Oh my gosh, what a boss move. I mean, again, I don't necessarily like this kind of banter and bickering in a deposition. It almost feels like we're in part 3. It almost feels like I'm watching a Hollywood movie at this point. And if I was watching a Hollywood movie, I would laugh at that part saying like, it's my room, babe. Like, that's kind of a boss line. I got to be honest. If the opportunity ever presents itself, maybe I'll use it. But I mean, he is just so annoying, and she's not letting him get under her skin.
Maybe you should control yourself in your own room.
Ms.
That's
Hurd,
gold. It's my room, babe.
Yeah.
Laura Wasser.
Laura Wasser. So real quick, he is arguing. This is Charles Harder, Amber's attorney at the time.
did Ms. Hurd, in terms of the documents produced today, can you tell us what you did to gather any documents produced? What your actions were?
You're asking me what my actions were to produce any document.
Any of the documents that were produced today, as
What do you
Mr. Harder's mentioned, were already on the record, were produced. Could you tell us what conduct acts you undertook related to the documents that were produced today?
Sure. Which documents are you talking about?
The documents you produced for these proceedings today.
I don't know what my counsel brought today, so I can't tell you how they were procured.
Okay. I'm just interested in the ones that you procured.
Let's
My counsel brought them. I did not bring them.
Okay.
She didn't ask who brought them. She asked how you got them. What did you do? Did you screenshot your cell phone? Did you download your cell phone? It's a simple question, but you all are now getting a little peek into our world of depositions when witnesses try to be difficult. And every time they release a part, you get another peek because this is one of those witnesses.
Did you procure any of them?
I'm sure.
Did you
I mean,
partic-
I without seeing
Can
which
she-
ones we're talking
Can
about.
she look at them?
did you participate in procuring of any of the documents that were produced today, or do you
Depends
know?
Stop, wait.
Yeah.
Slow way down. You're being argumentative and harassing. She would like to look at the documents. She's already said that. And you're not showing them to her.
Um,
We're not taking a lunch break yet.
Just FYI, you do not have to show the documents to the witness. You can say, you brought these documents. Did you procure any of them? Simple question. She can say yes, no, or she can say, I don't know. And that's fair if she says, I don't know. Then you can either move on and then you can show her the documents if you really want her to answer them. It's not a difficult process, but the lawyers can make it very difficult.
Oh, at the lunch break, we can show it to her?
They're your documents. She can see them whenever she wants.
She's asked for them. Why don't you give it to her? Why is there so much
Yes,
trickery
Mr.
going
Horner,
on?
you provided them. Do you not have a copy
They're
of
not-
the documents?
I don't have a copy, and the witness doesn't have a copy.
I'm just sitting here.
Ms. Hurd, did you, prior to sitting where you just referred to, ever obtain or produce to another person any and all writings, documents, and or communications between you and Io Tillett Wright from December 1, 2015 to today when you're sitting here?
And again, the privilege objection is if you exchange documents with counsel, I consider that to be privileged.
You're not answering, Ms. Hurd?
I'm taking my counsel's advice and protecting privilege.
Ms. Hurd, prior to sitting here at deposition today, did you at any time produce to another person or look for any and all writings, documents, and or communications between you and Jody Gottlieb from December 1, 2015 through the time you were sitting here for deposition?
And again, the privilege objection is the exchange of information between you and counsel is privileged, and I instruct you not to answer that particular question.
Prior to sitting here today, Ms. Hurd, did you ever make any attempt to produce any writings, documents, or communications between you and your parents from December 1, 2015 to today?
It's a compound question, but as to communications between you and counsel, that's privileged, including exchanging of information, that's privileged.
This is brutal.
Did you ever look for any emails with you and your parents in this case?
Did I ever look for any emails?
Yes.
I don't recall. My parents don't really email too much, so I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know is your answer?
I don't know is my answer.
Okay. Did you at any time prior to sitting here today look for any text between you and your parents relating to this case?
Yes.
Okay. What did you do once you looked for those?
I don't know. I maybe screen grabbed them or saved them.
You maybe screen grabbed them or what?
I can't remember. I don't know.
Okay.
She just answered, like, that's right there. That's what I'm telling you. So I am not one to call people liars. I really don't like calling people liars. But to say I screen grabbed them or saved them very clearly, and when the lawyer said you screen grabbed them or what, and then she said, I don't know, I don't remember what I just said. It's like, seriously? that's what makes it hard to believe a lot of what she says is those little indications like that. Not when she says, Johnny did this to me, when she is saying, I am going to say that. But it's these things that just add to the story of it's like, it's hard for me to really believe her. It's really hard.
Did you produce them here today?
I don't know what's in that stack of evidence we brought.
Did you give them to another person at any time after you looked at them and identified them?
And again, you're aware of
For
the
the
privilege.
counsel.
Is your answer for the counsel?
I'm going to take my counsel's advice and for privilege, say I can't answer that.
Did you ever at any time prior to when you're sitting here today look for any communications or writings between you and Josh Drew?
I don't recall.
Okay. Did you prior today look for or produce any photographs or images of you taken by you?
Did I ever look for photographs of myself taken by myself ever?
Mhm.
Have I ever looked at?
Pertaining to the allegations you made in this case?
So are you asking me if I've ever looked for pictures of myself?
Yes.
but specifically taken by myself.
To start with, yes.
I don't know. I don't remember if I've ever taken pictures of myself. Oh, yes, I actually, yes. The answer is yes.
Okay. What did you do with those that you
Depends on the
looked for and
picture.
identified?
There's more than one. I said, I would have to know which picture it was to know what I did with it.
Okay.
So you
With
did do
any
stuff
of
to
those
some
you
pictures.
identified as pictures relating to any claims you're making in this case, did you ever give any of them to another person?
And again, with regard to counsel, it's communication with counsel. So you need to not answer questions about communication with counsel.
I cannot answer that question because of what he just said.
At any time prior to sitting here today, did you ever make any attempt to look for photographs or images taken of you by any other person from the date of the alleged May 21, 2016 incident alleged in your declaration of May 26, 2016 through May 28, 2016?
Vague and ambiguous.
I was confused by that question because you're asked what I
That is exactly why you have to say form. He said vague and ambiguous, so she said, I don't understand your question. So frustrating. He's done it throughout the entire process, and it is brutal to watch and listen to.
exactly are you asking me?
Whether you ever looked for pictures relating to this case?
To the entire case for the entirety, because you seem to be very specific about certain couple.
Well, that was specifically about May 21.
So
Did
you're
you look for May
asking-
21 pictures?
What did you say about the 26th and through 28th? Just so I'm clear.
Well, you filed a declaration where you swore things in your declaration and made allegations,
Yes.
right? I'm asking you, did you look for any pictures related to the things you swore in your declaration?
Specifically from the May 21st.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us what you did with the pictures you looked for, if anything?
Don't talk about communications with counsel.
Then I cannot tell you because it involves counsel.
Did you produce any of the pictures related to your claims regarding May 21 for these proceedings to any other person?
Are you going to let her look at the document production?
I would just want to know what it is referring to when you say documents. I just want to make sure that they're all mine before I take responsibility for them.
Of course. But what I'm asking you is, did you produce any?
I'm going to again ask that you please put the document production in front of the witness so she can review what was produced today.
Do you not have a copy of the documents that were produced?
I've already told you, I don't personally have them and the witness doesn't have them.
Okay,
And I
do
see
any
two
of the
stacks.
other attorneys
And Laura,
have them?
yeah, you do. And you have two stacks in
Yes.
front of you. You can hand one to me and keep one.
I've made notes on both of those stacks. I'm so sorry. I assumed that your 7-person
Okay, well-
team would have a set.
Then she can't answer what was produced today
Okay.
because you're not going to show it to her.
I'm happy to give another copy to you guys at the lunch break.
Or I can get one from my co-counsel
Well, why
who's not
don't you
here.
do that?
Then let's save those questions for after the lunch break, Laura.
So again, part of what he's saying actually makes sense there. Let's save these questions till after lunch break. But what she's saying also makes sense. When you give me a copy, I'm going to make notes on it. It's the first time I've ever seen discovery. We're taking a depo. This happens a lot to me too, where an expert will give a report right before a depo, like an hour before a depo. I'm like, great. So I'm scribbling notes on it, trying to do everything I can to prep this last minute report for a depo I've already prepped other parts to. So it's okay for them to write on them and to be preparing for part of this depo because they're going to ask her questions about those documents. And how are they going to ask those questions? Based on the notes and stuff, all the lawyers are working together. And I think Laura Wasser is totally appropriately saying, you have 7 lawyers here. None of them have a copy. You gave us the only copy you brought. But he has a point saying, well, if you're going to ask her specifically about them, let's wait till after. I think it's a fair question to say, did you produce anything to anybody? Forget about these documents. Forget about what your lawyer said or brought today. Did you produce anything to anybody? And if you want to object to privilege to that, fine. But limiting them to these documents and specifically asking me about these documents, they probably should show them at this point. She said she doesn't know without looking at the documents.
Ms. Hurd, did you ever make any attempt prior to sitting here today to look for photographs of other images of you which have been posted, uploaded, or otherwise added to any social website or blog or Facebook or Instagram or other social media outlet, which have been posted since the date of the alleged May 21 incident alleged in your declaration for the proceedings today.
Compound, vague, and ambiguous.
What was the question exactly?
Have
Little
you
latitude.
ever looked for images which were
She's getting these indications from her lawyer. That's the point. And that's what's really frustrating and annoying about when a lawyer coaches a witness throughout a depo.
later images you saw online in this case
Have I ever looked for images that I have since seen online?
relating to the allegations you've made in this case?
Vague and ambiguous as to what images you're talking about.
And-
Seems facts, not in evidence.
Ms. Hurd, are you aware that a video was posted online last night?
I am aware of
Have
that.
you ever seen that video before?
I have seen that video.
Did you in fact take that video yourself?
I did.
Okay, when did you take that video?
I don't remember the exact date.
Okay, was that the same video that was posted online last night?
Objection is to the term posted online last night.
Did you see
Pause,
that a
pause
video,
real
that
quick,
the video
Jax.
you took was publicized?
So just to cover our bases here, the video that most people know, but the video in question is the kitchen cabinet smashing video that she took of Johnny that ended up on TMZ.
Yep.
And it was released the night before. So she did not want to set for this deposition.
Exactly.
She was already trying to sign the papers to drop it, and she did not want to set for this deposition at all. And conveniently, the night before she was supposed to set for this deposition, we remember the testimony of Morgan
Yep.
from TMZ in the Virginia trial, and that TMZ received an anonymous link, and they went and downloaded this edited, chopped down, blurry kitchen video to release the day before she was supposed to set for a deposition. But of course, she had nothing to do with that.
And it was
Great context from Brian, right? That's awesome to get the context while we're listening to the depo. This is a really cool experience, and it's unusual for any of you guys that this is like the first legal case you've ever followed. All of the people putting work into giving context and showing parts and depositions and parts of the trial and actual documents. It's really interesting, can learn a lot, and it is a cool experience to kind of understand how all of this works. God forbid if you ever find yourself in a civil lawsuit.
it's like late in the evening too, because I remember it was
Yeah.
night here when that
Yeah.
dropped.
Yeah,
So it was
which-
like very last minute.
yeah, it was like this last minute thing. So that's the video they're speaking about. That's the video they're asking about, and you're gonna see how she tries to dance around it. All right.
Onward.
Around the world last night?
If you're asking me if I'm aware that that video was posted online,
Yes.
yes,
Okay. And you took that video, correct?
I did.
And you took it on your cell phone, correct?
No,
What did you take it on?
iPad.
On your iPad?
Mhm.
Okay, and you used the iPad function to record Mr. Depp, correct?
I don't know what you mean iPad function.
The recording function.
Yes,
Oh.
as opposed to, are you asking me if I use like a certain app or? are
No,
you
I'm
asking-
just asking if you recorded him.
But I already said I did.
Okay, and you intended to record him, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And last night, that video you recorded was posted on press outlets around the world, correct?
I don't know
Objection.
where it was posted.
Okay. After you recorded,
Objection what, sir? Objection what? Oh, she gave the answer I wanted, so never mind. That's what it felt like. He objected, then Amber said, I don't know, and then he just kind of stopped. And they're obviously digging into the fact that she released this video, so they are getting into that now.
after you recorded that video of Mr. Depp,
And that's also why I think these lawyers knew and strategically didn't dive into the whole TMZ thing that she already mentioned earlier in part 2, as you remember, because now TMZ has this video and now they're asking about it, but they didn't dig into it before.
did it remain on your phone?
Wait,
I mean, iPad? Excuse me, I misspoke.
It's not isolated to my iPad, but yes,
Did you send it out to other people?
to my, it involves.
don't answer as to counsel.
Did you send it out to any other person, not
Other than
your
counsel.
counsel?
Right.
No.
So you only had it on your iPhone and you sent it, if you sent it anywhere, you sent it to your counsel.
iPad.
I'm sorry, iPad. You recorded it on your iPad and
Was
It-
not isolated to my iPad.
okay. And you sent it to
It was not isolated to her iPad, meaning she could have transferred it to her iPhone, iCloud, whatever. Very interesting.
only your counsel, correct?
Don't answer as to communications with counsel.
Okay.
She's asked, and you've asked that, and she's answered.
I just want to be very clear, Miss.
You're asking me if I leaked
Her.
that video and I did not.
No, that's not what she's
I have not
asking. and
asked you.
I move to strike. Listen
Amber,
carefully.
Amber's no dummy. She knows exactly where this lawyer is going with these questions. And she said, you're asking me if I leaked it, and I didn't.
To the question. I'm allowed to.
Okay.
You're moving to strike your client's own answer?
It wasn't an answer to a question.
Ms. Hurd,
Yes.
It was responsive to the question, though. It was responsive. That was her response to the question. We can talk about errata sheets at the end of this depo in whole, but basically you can make corrections to errors. I guess we can talk about it now. On an errata sheet, have you ever heard them say, do you want to read or waive at the end of a deposition? That means you get to read it for errors and you can correct it with an errata sheet, but you cannot correct things like that. You can't say, I didn't mean to say that I didn't leak this video. Correcting an errata sheet is like, it was actually on my iPad, not my iPhone, and they typed in iPhone. They should have typed in iPad. My address is 123 Forest Drive, and they wrote 123 Forest Road. So if we can correct that, it's errors like that that are errors in the transcript or that the transcriber made a mistake, not I don't like my answer, therefore I want to change it. And if you want me to keep referring back to the same miserable deposition I was in where the other side was sanctioned and had to come back and pay for a second deposition, that deponent had a 3-page long errata sheet where he was trying to correct, fix answers to his questions, answer questions that I asked that he refused to answer. He wrote in answers in the errata sheet there, and the judge was like, no, we're doing this depo again, and you're paying for it. So if they were going to try to go correct something like that or strike an answer like that later, that's not how it works. That's not what an errata sheet is. When you read or waive and you choose to read it and don't waive the reading, waive obviously means I don't need to read it for corrections. I trust the court reporter. Read means I want to read it to make sure everything's correct. If you do read it, those are the kinds of corrections you can make, not changing your answers.
after you took that iPad video of Mr. Depp, did you ever forward that video to any other person?
Wait, objection is to what any other person means. Are you saying, did you forward it to anyone that is not an attorney?
Well, let's start there. Tell me the names of any other person other than an attorney you ever forwarded the video you took to which you were referring of Mr. Depp after you recorded him.
I can't remember. It was a long time ago. And since this has all gone down, there have been many people involved in my case, and many people seeking to whom I sought advice and help and support legally and otherwise.
Okay, so let's start with the first person, if there are many. Let's start with the first person you remember sending that video to.
I believe that misstates her prior testimony.
I'm telling you, it was taken a long time ago. This has been, and since I have been, since this has all gone down, it's been quite a long time, and there have been a lot of people involved, a lot of people both legally and otherwise that I have sought advice and help for, legal and otherwise.
And otherwise.
And it wasn't isolated just to my iPad. I also sync my devices, and I have many people have access to my devices, and I don't know who I sent it to.
Who has access to your devices?
Many people.
Ms. Hurt, of those many people, could you name them?
I couldn't name them all. No.
Could you name any of them?
Exactly the right question. You said a lot.
This reminds me of
Who are they?
I told many doctors, I told many therapists, I told many, many.
Yeah, she acts
Who are
like
they?
many means you
I
don't
don't
have
know.
to answer, but that's
I
not
don't
how
know.
it is.
Who
I
are
don't
they?
know.
Can
I
you
had
remember?
many therapists. There were so many, and this was so long ago. This was
Yeah.
so long ago. No, it wasn't. It was literally a few months before this when she did
Right.
it, like 6-7 months tops before she set for this deposition. And since then, many people. How many people have access to your phone, Jax?
0.
Okay, I didn't know. I was just wondering. I thought that might be a thing. Hey, let's roll through some of these real quick while we
Sure,
got
go
a
ahead.
little lull. Arguing a lot as a result.
It's my room.
Any other person? Did you,
You should. All right.
Fantastic.
All right. We'll get back to it.
All right.
I could probably name some.
please do.
My sister has access to my iPad.
And that's Whitney Hurd?
I think a tell of her maybe not being honest is when she looks at her lawyer like this and answers a question. Either that or she's worried that this is not a good answer for her. And then that smirk, look where I paused it, just that smirk is like it's kind of.
Okay. Did you allow your sister to take the video you made of Mr. Depp at any time after you made it?
No.
Vague and
Did you
ambiguous as the word
allow
take.
any other person
Form.
did you forward to any other person a copy of the video you took of Mr. Depp?
It's
If-
the
if
same
it-
question you asked me.
Anything that relates to counsel, you can't answer, but other than counsel.
Was there any other person you forwarded the video
I can't
to
remember.
that wasn't counsel?
I can't remember.
You can't remember.
There's a lot of evidence. I've had a lot of evidence. I can't remember. I can't remember.
Okay, that's your testimony. I only want the truth.
Good.
Before you sat
That's always code for I don't believe you.
here today, did you ever, at any time in anticipation of these proceedings, look for any cell phone used by you and or registered in your name, including all numbers used by you under any family plan or similar service, and make any attempt to get your telephone statements or a printout of your telephone records containing the details of your text and phone messages?
Compound, vague and ambiguous.
That was a very long question. Can you please tell me what you're asking me?
Yes. Did you not
Coaching.
understand?
I did not understand that. That's why I said, can you please?
Oh, okay. So did you make any attempt at all prior to today to get your phone records for these proceedings?
I don't know. I don't recall. You mean like through the telephone company? Like through the
By
provider?
any means, Ms. Hurd, online, by the telephone company, your own records,
What do you mean by phone records?
records that reflect the details of text and phone calls that you've made and received.
So are you asking me if I have gone through my own text messages?
No, I'm not asking you that. I'm asking if you ever made any attempt to get bills that reflect, have you ever seen a telephone bill?
I have seen a physical telephone bill in my life.
And on telephone bills, you've seen where they list calls made and calls received and the time and date of those calls?
Yeah.
Did you ever make any attempt to obtain those kind of billings for this case?
I don't remember. I don't know. I can't remember doing that.
Is your answer you can't remember doing that?
Yeah, I don't remember that. I don't know.
At any time prior to sitting here today, did you ever review your computers, cell phones, or any digital device to look for any and all emails or text messages that you would have relating to any of the claims in your case?
Just so I'm clear, are you asking me if I looked from emails?
Well, let's start with emails.
Pertain-
pertaining to this case.
Have I ever looked through my own emails pertaining to this?
All of you listening, we're 30-ish minutes in. Do you feel like we've gotten a single answer, a single piece of evidence, a single piece of relevant information? I feel like we've gotten literally nothing 30 minutes into this part of the Depo. Besides, like, what are you asking? What do you mean by produce? That's vague. It's my iPad, not my iPhone. What documents? Those documents, the ones we brought, I don't know what's in them. Can I see them? Is it privileged? Is it not? that's all I feel like we've heard. It's pretty brutal.
This case
Yes.
for a month.
Yes.
Perhaps, yes.
Okay. And did you ever gather those at any time and give them to another person?
Don't answer as to counsel.
I don't remember.
It's compound. Did you gather them as the first, and then
Okay.
did you give them as the second?
Did you gather them up?
No.
No,
Not that
you
I
never
remember.
did.
Not that I remember.
What was the- what did we get up on the list?
No.
Okay. Okay. So back to your contacting Mr. Depp. At some point, did you believe a restraining order had been obtained? Did you seek a restraining order in this case?
Yes, I did.
Did you ask for the court to issue a restraining order?
I did.
And when did you do that?
I believe it was on the 27th.
And that's a restraining order against Mr. Depp,
What
the one you wanted to get?
Yes.
Yes. And why did you do that?
Because I lived in a house. Because I lived in a house he owned, had keys to, his security had keys to, and despite my repeated requests that they protect me when Johnny was using and in these episodes or in these states, despite the repeated requests I made from them to help me protect my property, especially, and me, and despite their repeated warnings that we were going to kill each other, as they like to put it, that they were not very helpful when it came to protecting me. As I have in our evidence, them on audio saying that I didn't matter. JD was important here.
Pause.
And because of that lack of security and
Brief
Not
discussion.
even remotely.
That's
But I will say she has been consistent that one of the reasons she went and got that TRO is so that she could lock him out of the penthouse.
look. What's important right now is that we get him the attention he needs to protect this woman. That's what she does.
Even when it's right in your face.
Yeah, she'll lie.
behavior had become, because I lived in his home and because his behavior had become increasingly erratic and unpredictable and scary, I had no other way than to protect myself and feel more protected and feel like I had autonomy over my space, where he couldn't just come in the middle of the night on one of his benders and try to get in the house or decide he wanted to have another talk about one of his delusions or to fight it out or whatever.
And were you successful in your efforts to obtain that a restraining order?
I was.
Okay. When did you obtain that restraining order, if you know?
Are you asking me the date again?
Calls for legal conclusion.
When were you aware first that you had obtained a restraining order?
When I was told it was successfly obtained by my lawyer.
Was that May 27th?
I'm just going to instruct you. You can't talk about communications with your lawyer. So
Okay.
I'm going to do a claw back because I think it was inadvertent.
Okay.
Claw.
Ms. Hurd, did you go to court on May 27th, 2016?
I believe that was the date.
Did you understand you were going to court to get a restraining order?
Yeah.
Did you leave court believing you'd gotten a restraining order?
Yeah.
Okay. So it would be truthful to say that on May 27th, you believed you had obtained this restraining order against Johnny Depp, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you understand, and let's strike that. Did you feel once you had obtained that restraining order that it would prohibit any contact between you and Johnny Depp?
I'm going to object because your understanding, if they came from counsel, you can't answer. If you have an independent knowledge, then that would be different.
And my independent knowledge would be that of what I assumed a restraining order was, which was that he had to stay away from me and couldn't just come home in the middle of the night and decide he wanted to fight about something.
And he couldn't,
Or I could call the cops and they would come fast. And they
AKA he couldn't come inside his own home at all for any reason, even just to go to sleep because it's his house.
wouldn't know it was serious.
and you continued to be petrified of him, correct?
I was terrified of the monster. I
Okay.
was terrified of the part of Johnny that I could not control or predict, and that was getting worse and worse.
If you need a break, we can take a break, okay?
I'm okay.
So,
Thank you.
okay. And you believed at the time you obtained this restraining order that the law, the court was ordering that Johnny Depp not have any contact with you, correct?
Now, be careful of communications with counsel. I don't want you to disclose any understandings that you received from counsel. If it's separate and apart from that, then I will allow it.
Could you repeat your question, please?
Yes. You believed when you were obtained this restraining order that under no circumstances could there be, or did you want there to be, any physical contact between you and Johnny Depp, correct?
That's why you get a restraining order.
It was my understanding, independent of counsel or any,
Right.
you know, it was my vague understanding that my contact with him would be limited. I was unclear as to what extent. There were a lot of things going on and a lot of other pressures. And I thought I would be more protected with regards to the law. I thought I would be safer in my own home and be able to change the locks legally
To the
so that I could have some safety.
Okay. And to the best of your knowledge, when you went to court and obtained that restraining order on May 27th, where did you believe Johnny was that day?
I don't know.
To the best of your knowledge.
I
Calls for
have no idea.
speculation.
Did you have any idea?
I don't remember knowing where he was.
Okay. And after you obtained that restraining order on May 27th, did you even, to the best of your knowledge, again, did you have any awareness of whether Johnny Depp was even in Los Angeles?
I don't remember. I knew he was traveling around that time, but I don't know. I don't remember knowing where he was.
Do you know somebody named Christian Carino?
I do.
Okay.
We all know
Is he
him
your
now.
friend?
Yeah, he is my friend.
Is he also your commercial agent?
Yeah, he is.
Okay. Did you speak with Christian Carino on July 15th and ask him to get in touch with Johnny so you could go see him in San Francisco?
On July 15th?
Yes.
What is your question? Whether I contacted Christian, or what's your question? Sorry.
Do you need me to repeat it?
What is your question, please?
Okay. Did you contact Christian Carino on July 15th and ask him to contact Johnny so you could go see him in San Francisco? That would be Johnny Depp in San Francisco.
I don't know who initiated the contact, and I don't know at what point in that communication with Christian. I don't know at what point that was. So if you're asking me if Christian and I text on July 15th, yes, we probably did.
This is when she was working with Carino to get a meetup with Johnny at the hotel. We heard this testimony in depth from Christian Carino. I think she is kind of now trying to explain it from her point of view, and they're probably going to ask, well, why did you want to meet with the guy you just got the restraining order from?
We're supposed to have some sort of discussion about mediation, and
Can't really talk about mediation.
Okay.
Were you aware you had a temporary restraining order that
Mediation is cloaked in confidentiality. You have to sign a confidentiality agreement. I actually did a full video on a mediation breakdown right after I got out of a mediation. If you want to check that out on our page, and you have to sign, everybody there, party or not, lawyer or not, has to sign a confidentiality agreement.
you've gotten issued against Johnny Depp when you requested to see him?
Yes.
Okay. And were you petrified of Johnny Depp at the time you contacted Christian Carino to try to see him?
I was told that he was sober and in a sober state, and so it was my fears were mitigated against the idea that he had maybe had some time to get sober and clean, and that generally means his behavior is safer and better, and that I would not be alone and I would be protected.
So
Just 1 second. I have a privileged question.
let the record reflect.
This is confirming that is the guy that we thought it was, that we broke down on one of the last videos. Usually you're not allowed to do this in a depo. Stop and talk to your witness. Why would you have a privileged question? Just don't ask it. You had the opportunity to prepare her. But let's see what happens here.
Yes, this
Mr.
was.
Harder is
Okay.
whispering in his client's ear.
Well, no, I had to ask her a question because this pertained to mediation, so I have to make a mediation privilege objection.
If I can make a point,
So,
Would you like?
Christian Carino was a mutual friend and agent. He is not a mediator. He was like a middleman that Amber used to reach Johnny and to set up a meeting with Johnny while the temporary restraining order was in place, and she knew that, and she was trying to dance around it so she could meet Johnny because she wanted to reconcile. She even
Which we know all that, but is that what they're calling a mediation? Because that is not a mediation with the same rules as mediation. So if you went and watched my video, those rules do not apply when you have a friend come and mediate a conversation between you two. That's an official mediation, most of the time ordered by the court or in the case management conference. Not the same thing. So again, another great insight here by Brian.
told
Yep.
she even told Christian Carino that. You can see the text messages, and it is very much her begging to meet Johnny. It's not, is he sober? Will I be safe? Nothing like that. It is
Which is
very
all
much
impeachment.
Amber trying to dance around the restraining order, which she was very aware of what it stood for.
Yeah.
And she's using Christian as the go-between because he was a mutual friend. He was a friend to both of them.
Yes.
And she was using him to get to Johnny. He is not a mediator. It's not protected under mediation or anything like that.
That's
the text
funny.
messages are out there. We even covered them over on Movie Myths and Monsters. Jack.
I didn't even know that that's what they were talking about. I thought they were talking about an actual mediation as part of the case. That's what's brutal about people that'll be misleading purposely.
And I did
Yes.
already. And it is very much Amber trying to reconcile and get back with Johnny. And
Yeah.
that ended up being the San Francisco trip. So I'm just preparing you for what you're about to hear. It is a slew of basically what you've seen so far, which is her answering nothing while her attorney jumps in and prevents her from doing so, because it's very incriminating. It's very incriminating.
But on the other side, there was a lot of fear from Johnny's side that she was going to say that the restraining order had been broken.
That is true.
And they went through a lot of trouble to sort of contain that possibility.
Agreed. That is true. Let's let me go through some of this real quick. Incredibly average. You forgot your watermark. I did. Okay, so here's what's had to happen.
Thank
It's one
objecting.
form of protection, form of that, but she.
To make it that objection?
I just did. I'm objecting to this line of questioning because it's mediation privilege. Do you want to go off the record? and we
No,
can
I
talk
just
about
want to be
this?
clear so that I understand whether you're saying that Ms. Hurd's communications with Christian Carino, you are claiming are privileged under the mediation privilege.
This is really great. This is what's great about watching it live. Like as a lawyer, I'm trying to explain the rules, and it's like, oh, they're talking about meeting with their friend. This is funny. And now the lawyer is actually doing the correct thing, which I would do too if I was her. And it's like, yeah, that's not mediation privilege.
Respect to a meeting with or potential meeting with Johnny Depp, it's mediation privilege.
No, it's not, dude. No, it is not.
Well, you disagree, but
I'm not saying anything, Mr. Hart.
I know we could go off the record and we could discuss because you guys were at the mediation and the mediator was saying certain things, which I don't want to say on the record, but
I don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Harder, but I'm going to continue questioning
Okay.
Ms. Hurd.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Did you ask Christian Carino on July 15th to tell Johnny Depp that you loved him?
I don't know. I don't remember. But I love Johnny.
Did you text Christian Carino and ask him if he thought he could convince Johnny to speak with you on the night of July 19th?
I don't remember specifically because I don't have those text messages in front of me.
Where are
So I-
those text messages?
I don't know.
Have you kept them?
It assumes facts, not in evidence.
I just don't have them in front of me. I don't know. I don't remember. Do you remember?
Assuming facts on evidence, also not a proper deposition objection.
Every text message you send to everybody and when you send it.
Do you ever remember asking Christian Carino to tell Johnny you loved him in August, in any time during this month of
I don't have a
2016?
specific memory of that, but I'm sure I did.
It's literally August 13th, so she's only asking about the last 12 days, and Amber's making it seem like she's asking about the last 5 years.
No, it doesn't sound. Doesn't. I don't know. I don't have a specific.
Don't guess.
Oh, okay. I don't have a specific memory of that.
Did you text Christian Carino on or around July 19th, 2016, and ask Christian if he thought you, Amber, would be able to physically see Johnny that night?
I'm going to object on the mediation privilege grounds, and we can talk about this at a break.
Are you going to answer my
We're
question?
just trying to mediate, and so I feel
Well,
like
don't answer because
It's Amber trying to use the code words and buzzwords from her lawyers and just using them completely improperly, because a lot of lay people think like, you know, we need to get a mediator between us, like a friend, and we're just trying to mediate this issue that's not the same rules as an actual mediation in a court case.
we'll have to talk at a break with counsel.
Did Christian Carino ever talk up to you about Johnny Depp saying he could not meet with you in July of August of 2016 because there was a restraining order in place?
Again, we're going to have to put a pin in that because of the mediation privilege issue, and we can discuss it at a break.
Just to be clear, Mr. Harder, were you present during any mediations in this case?
Yes, I was, and so were you, and so were several people in this room.
On what dates?
It's not my deposition, and I don't have my calendar in front of me. There was an ongoing mediation process.
Well, it feels like you're making your deposition because you keep talking. I feel like we've heard his voice more than anybody else's voice, and he's not even asking questions. But I think he's trying to make mediation be, you know, anytime they talk about anything. If it's confidential settlement negotiations, fine. That's confidential. That's privileged. Usually you have to state that. And they're usually seen as confidential. Mediation and everything that's talked about in mediation is confidential. But just because Johnny and Amber talked about reconciling and loving each other, that's not covered under some mediation privilege, which is what he's trying to do.
That went on for a long time, as you know, Blair.
Ms. Hurd, were you present during any mediation sessions in this case?
Don't answer mediation privilege.
Are you going to answer my question?
You just seems like you're not answering.
You can say if you were at a mediation session or spoke to a mediator.
Yes.
On how many occasions?
I don't recall. Maybe 2. I can't. As to not guess, I have to say. I can't remember how many there were.
Did you ever attend a mediation session at these offices before?
It calls for legal conclusion. It's vague as to what a mediation session is.
How about,
Which is not actually that vague. Like what actually constitutes mediation is not that vague, but he's trying to make it seem very complicated.
how about mediation, the word we used before when she said she had?
Well, I mean, here's the thing, Blair. There was a mediator, I think, at this office, or was it Patty's office? I can't remember. It was one of these offices in Century City, and there was a mediator. And there were several sessions, and there was a mediator at my office, and you were there, Blair. So there were. Let's talk off the record about this, because I don't want to divulge anything that's mediation privilege.
Ms. Depp, did you ever attend a mediation with Johnny Depp? in this case and other lawyers?
She keeps switching back and forth, calling her Miss Heard and then Miss Depp, which I think is interesting.
Yes.
Okay. Who were the lawyers there when you attended this mediation
know.
session?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know all the lawyers. I don't even know. I don't know most of the people in this room.
She's like, I don't know any of the lawyers. I don't even know who's sitting at this table representing me right now.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
I
you.
don't know half the people in this room.
And did you ever attend a mediation with someone named Christian Carino at the mediation?
I know that with regard,
Before she answers this, I'd be interested to know, did Christian Carino sign a confidentiality agreement saying that whatever happens here is confidential? Because if not, that breaks the confidentiality right there. At least there's an argument for that.
to my understanding of mediation and what mediation is, Christian Carino was present and involved in trying to mediate between us.
At any point, did you ask to see Johnny Depp and did strike that. At any point in time, Ms. Heard, did you ask Christian Carino to set up a meeting between you and Mr. Depp? And did Mr. Carino tell you that was not possible because papers had to be in place?
Mediation privilege, and I'm going to instruct you not to answer, and we can talk about this at a break.
Okay.
On Thursday, July 21, 2016, were you in Los Angeles?
I don't know.
Do you have any ability to figure that out? Do you have a calendar or anything?
No, not with me. I don't have my phone on me. What could you remind me of what that date was so I can know?
It was July 21, 2016, a Thursday.
I have no idea where I was on that day. Can you give me some sort of background? Maybe I can answer the question better. Because I
was
really don't
asking
know.
you where you were.
Asked and answered.
I feel like I answered that.
Okay.
It's so blatantly obvious when she literally just repeats the objection.
In July, anytime in the month of July 2016, did you board a plane and fly to San Francisco, California?
At any time in July?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. And did you do that to see Johnny Depp?
Mediation privilege, and I instruct you not to answer, and we can deal with
Oh,
this
it's
at a
so
break.
annoying.
Don't answer.
Are you answering my question, Ms. Heard?
I am taking his advice.
Ms. Heard, in July of 2016, were you aware that your husband, Johnny Depp, was on tour with his band, The Vampires?
I don't think that's the name of the band.
Are you asking me, did I know if Johnny Depp went on tour with the Hollywood Vampires?
Yes.
Yes, I do know that he went on tour with the Hollywood Vampires.
In July of 2016, did you believe he was on tour at that time during that month?
I believe so. I believe I knew that he was on tour more or less around the time of July with his band, the Hollywood Vampires.
And at some point, did you believe that Johnny Depp, while performing on his tour, was going to be in San Francisco?
Christian told me that he was going to be there, I believe.
And is it true that you got on an airplane and flew to San Francisco intending to see Johnny Depp?
Don't answer. Mediation privilege. We can take this up at a break.
Isn't it
There is almost no way her conversations with Christian Carino are privileged under mediation. Unless everybody agreed to that, which I'd be surprised about.
true, Ms. Heard, that you
Christian Carino testified to all this. So obviously the court ended up determining it wasn't privileged.
flew to San Francisco on July 21 to attempt to see Johnny Depp?
Again, mediation privilege. I instruct you not to answer, and counsel can discuss this at a break.
Did you fly to San Francisco on July 21?
I don't remember what date I flew there.
Did you fly to San Francisco in the month of July?
Yes.
Okay. Did Christian Carino, on or around July 21, tell you that Johnny's lawyers had said that you could not meet with Johnny until you dissolved the TRO.
I don't know. He told me that. I don't remember everything he said to me.
Did he ever tell you anything like that?
Well, that would make sense so that Johnny doesn't get arrested.
I don't recall.
After getting off the plane in San Francisco, did you go to a house arranged for by Christian Carino?
I'm going to instruct mediation privilege. We can take this up at a break.
On July 21 or July 22, 2016, did you go to the hotel that you were informed Johnny Depp was staying at in San Francisco, the Omni Hotel?
Instruct you not to answer because of mediation privilege, and counsel can discuss this at a break.
On July 21 or July 22, did you go to the Omni Hotel?
Mediation privilege, instruct you not to answer. Counsel can take this up at a break.
Ms. Hurd, I see you shaking your head back and forth. Was that no?
Don't shake your head, please. And
I didn't mean to move my head.
Okay, so you were
Sorry.
not answering in the negative that you did not go to the
I
Omni
did
Wait.
not
Hotel.
answer.
She wasn't answering.
she's not answering because of privilege, because I've instructed her.
Do you have a cell phone? Did you have a cell phone that you were using on August 9th, 2016?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a cell phone, yeah.
Okay. What was the cell number you utilized to
Obviously.
make calls on August 9, 2016?
I don't know.
Do you recognize a cell number?
You can't play private
yes,
cell phone numbers, addresses,
think
things
so.
like
Yeah.
that. They don't
And
want to
who
just
does
have
that
coming out
number
in
belong to?
depositions.
That's a number that belongs to me.
Okay. Did you use your cell phone
Interesting.
to call Johnny Depp 3 different times on August 9, 2016?
Obviously, they
We
have the phone
object
records.
Mediation privilege, and we can all discuss this at a break.
That is not mediation
Are
privilege.
you answering my question? Ms.
Her calling Johnny Depp. I mean, this is like horrible lawyering. That is not mediation privilege. He's trying to, I guess, be nuanced or novel in these arguments that most people don't make. But there's a reason most people don't make them, because that's not a legitimate legal argument. That she called Johnny Depp after filing a TRO, and that's under some media. You wouldn't. I think it'd be pretty hard to say that we're under any mediation privilege protection while there's a TRO pending and we are not even allowed to talk or be in the same room. Pretty sure that ends mediation.
No, I'm taking his advice.
The next day, August 10, 2016, did you call Johnny Depp using that same cell phone twice?
Again, mediation privilege, and I'm going to instruct you, and the counsel can take it up at a break.
Ms. Hurd, on August 11th, did you have 4 different telephone conversations where you called Johnny Depp?
Mediation privilege, I'm going to instruct you, and we can take it up at a break.
Did you speak with Johnny Depp on August 11th by telephone at 5:52 p.m.?
Mediation privilege, I'm going to instruct you, and we can take it up at a break with counsel.
Between 5:52 and 6:07 on August 11, 2004, did you participate in a 15-minute phone call between you and Johnny Depp?
I'm going to instruct you on mediation privilege, and counsel can take it up at a break.
After 6:07 on August 11, 2016, did you repeatedly make efforts to call Johnny Depp?
Again, I'm going to instruct you on mediation privilege, and we can take this up at a break.
Did you place a call to Johnny Depp first at 3:51 on August 11th?
Same instruction, same objection. We can take it up at a break.
Did you next place a call intending to call Johnny Depp at 8:54?
Same instruction, same objection. We can take it up at a break. You don't have to get louder either. We can
Did you
You'd be getting louder and louder progressively. You don't have to.
Did you next make a third call at 10:03 that night to Johnny Depp?
Mediation privilege, same obstruction, what we discussed at the break.
After the 10:03 phone call,
What a waste
did you
of time.
next try to call Johnny Depp at 10:10?
Same objection and instruction.
After the 10:10 phone call on August 11, 2016, did you then place a fifth phone call at 10:37 to Johnny Depp?
Same objection, same instruction.
On August 11, 2016, Ms. Heard, did you, in any form of communication, ask Johnny to call you?
Same instruction, same objection.
Ms. Heard, I'm showing you a picture that will be marked respondents I. Do you recognize that picture?
Yes.
Okay. And showing you a second picture that'll be marked as respondents J. Do you recognize that picture?
Jax, you want to give a little
It's the
pause?
same picture, or same.
All right. So what we're about to move into, we've moved on from the non-answered mediation, whatever nonsense that whole thing was, and they're about to move on to what I consider to be the much more interesting point
Thank
of it.
God.
How far are we into this, Jax?
50 minutes.
About 50 minutes, yeah. So we're getting into what's going to be, everyone's going to be a lot more interested in this, I think. I'm going to start some things, and so we can get caught up on this.
Yeah.
Reconcile and
Come on,
harassing
you guys.
In May. Exactly.
Respondents,
adjustments next time, so I can actually pull photos up because this is about to get really good.
Yeah, there's
right.
a little less than 30 minutes left for today's batch.
Yep. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
am I correct that respondents J is a close-up shot or a closer shot of the same photograph of respondents I?
It calls for speculation.
If you know.
You asked me if it's, what's the question?
The
Exactly.
same
It's the
photograph,
same-
one's from a closer.
Yeah, it looks like, it
perspective.
looks like that to me.
Have you ever seen that photograph before?
Johnny told me about it and then sent it to me about like May, when we started speaking again in May. About a month. We didn't speak for almost a month, and that's when he sent me that picture.
And how did he send you that copy?
Text message, I believe.
Okay. Drawing your attention to respondents I. Are you looking at that picture?
Yes.
Okay. Do you see a bed in that picture?
Yes.
Do you recognize that bed?
Yes.
Whose bed is that?
That is the bed that Johnny and I sleep in.
Okay. And is that a bed you and Johnny sleep in at Penthouse 3 at the Broadway residence?
Only when he stays there.
Okay. You say you saw that picture for the first time as of
In May.
Sometime in May?
I remember when he sent that picture to me because I was on the way to the airport and I hadn't spoken to him in several weeks, almost a month.
Okay. When did you have a specific memory of that?
Yes.
Okay. When was that in May?
It was the day I was leaving for Italy. I don't know that date off the top of my head, but I remember it was significant to me because Johnny and I had not been speaking for about a month prior.
Okay. When you say you had not been speaking to Johnny for a month prior, does that mean he had not slept in the same bed with you for a month?
Yeah, yeah, we had not seen each other in several weeks, almost a month.
Okay. When was the last time prior to when you were sent this photograph that you had seen Johnny Depp?
Last time I saw him was April 21st into the morning of April 22nd.
Okay. On the morning of April 22nd, when you last saw him, did you see him leave Penthouse 3?
I did not see him leave. I saw him right before he left. And then he left me a note. He stormed downstairs, and I heard the door slam, and I started to walk downstairs, and then I heard it open again. I went back upstairs thinking he was coming back in, and then it slammed again. And then I went downstairs an hour or two later because it sounded as though he had indeed left, and I saw a note saying, happy fucking birthday.
And what time was that you confirmed that he'd left?
Very early morning hours of April 22nd, my 30th birthday.
When you say early morning hours, would that be before or after, say, 4 o'clock in the morning?
I don't know.
Would it be before or after, say, 6 o'clock in the morning?
I can't recall.
Okay. After you believed he had left, did you go to sleep in that bed at some point?
Yes.
Okay. And was anyone else sleeping with you in that bed when you went to sleep?
No human was sleeping with me.
No human was sleeping with you. Okay. And
the dog sleep with me.
Okay. So no other human was sleeping with you in that bed. Prior to getting out of that bed, was any other person in that bed with you?
Yes.
Who is that person?
Raquel Pennington.
When did she enter your bed?
When she woke me up.
And what time was that?
I don't recall.
Okay. At the time she woke you up, is it true to say that you hadn't left that bed?
I might have left the bed.
Where did you go?
I don't remember if I got up to use the restroom and or brush my teeth, but I don't know.
Okay. Is it true to say that if you had left your bed during that time, it would have been a brief leaving of the bed and you returned to the bed?
Yes.
Okay. And you do or don't remember when Raquel Pennington got into bed with you?
It was in the morning.
Okay. And how long were you and Raquel in the bed together?
Not very long, just long enough for her to wake me up and show me a birthday video she had made for me.
Okay. Were you still in your sleep clothes in bed when that occurred?
Yes.
Okay. Showing you what has been marked as J, respondents J. When you woke up that morning, was feces, well, tell me what you think that picture shows. Does that,
It looks like dog poop.
okay, is that,
Was there feces? Actually, tell me what you think this picture. So we're getting into the poop in the bed stuff, I guess. And she clearly says it looks like dog poop.
feces?
Looks like dog feces.
Excrement, correct?
Asked and answered twice now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
What
I
makes you,
answered it.
what makes you believe that feces is dog feces?
Because there's no other plausible explanation, and because Boo, my
Yes,
dog,
there is.
Johnny and I's dog, uses the bathroom quite frequently in the bed and has done so on Johnny's person more than once. In fact, my mom sent me a text message just yesterday saying that Boo used the bathroom in bed with her and so sorry about the sheets. What does she need to do? And that was yesterday.
If you were informed,
So,
Miss Heard, that feces you are looking at in respondent's exhibit is in fact human feces, would you know where that feces had come from?
Absolutely not.
Okay. And when you woke up that morning on April 22nd, was that feces in your bed?
I have no idea. Boo sleeps underneath the covers, and she's a small dog. And she uses the bathroom in the bed quite frequently. So if it was in the bed, I didn't notice. And I know I didn't notice because there was
Weird.
another person that came into the bed, as I mentioned, Raquel Pennington, who talked to me and even showed me a video that morning. It's my 30th birthday, and neither of us noticed it. Then we got out of bed to pack because we were leaving for the weekend, my little birthday weekend, and we left the dogs in the bed. You try to leave the dogs in the bed in the morning because as soon as you set them down, Boo is even more encouraged to use the bathroom, and I wasn't ready to go downstairs, so I left them in the bed where I grabbed a few things to pack, so it could have happened after I got out of bed.
So it's like very common that they just poop in the bed and they keep putting them in the bed. That makes sense.
When you say it could have happened, what do you mean?
Boo could have used the bathroom.
Miss Heard, I just want to be very clear. Between the time you were sleeping with Miss Raquel Pennington in your bed,
I never slept with Raquel Pennington
I'm sorry,
in my bed.
I misspoke. Between the time you were sleeping in your bed
Mhm.
and the time you left your bed for the day, was
Mhm.
any person other than you and Raquel Pennington in that bed?
No.
Was any other person?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
So like somebody could have been in your bed and you
How long
didn't
were
know
you
it?
in your penthouse 3 before you left for your trip?
From when?
From the time you woke up until the time you left?
How long did it take us to get ready?
Well, what time did you leave the penthouse that day?
I don't. That night you said?
That day?
I feel like it was in midday. I don't know. I can't. If you don't want me to guess, then I'd have to say I don't know. I don't know the exact time.
Would it be fair to say around the afternoon, early afternoon?
That'd be fair.
Okay. And between the time you were sleeping in your bed and the time you left, did you ever leave your apartment?
Clarify? Sorry.
Between the time you left for your trip
Mhm.
and the time you were sleeping and woke up in your bed, did you leave penthouse 3? Or were you there the whole morning?
I went to the other penthouses to gather clothes and my paints and stuff. So yes, I did leave penthouse 3.
To your awareness, to your knowledge, was any other person accessing your bedroom between the time you woke up on April 22nd and the time you left for your trip?
Other than Raquel?
Yes. And you?
I can't remember if the housekeepers came while I was there or after. I think the housekeepers came after we had already left. So I'm not sure.
Okay. Is it fair to say that your testimony here is that other than you and Rocky, and possibly, you're not sure, the housekeepers, no other person came into your bedroom?
I cannot remember. I cannot tell you.
Time.
I also can't tell you who was in the apartments because the apartments connect. And at the time, Lily Rose and her boyfriend were living next door in penthouse 4, and they connect. So you have access to all of them. So between the housekeepers, the house manager, his assistant, and Lily Rose and her boyfriend, there are any number of people that have access to that apartment.
My question to you, Ms. Depp, is do you have any reason to believe on April 22nd, at any time in the day, that Lily Rose Depp was in your bedroom?
Are you asking me if I have any reason to believe that she was in my bedroom?
Correct.
No.
Do you have any reason to believe that Ash was in your bedroom on April 21, 2016, at any time? I'm sorry, April 22, 2016. At any
I
time.
have no idea who was in my apartment or who had access to my apartment for whatever reason. I have no reason to believe specifically that Ash or Lily Rose was in my bedroom.
Could you name
I'm
it?
just saying a lot of people have access. Kevin, the housekeepers, house manager, a lot of people have access to that apartment.
On April 22nd, 2016, could you identify any person that you gave authorization to have access to your bedroom on April 22nd?
Big ambiguous.
Yeah, what
access
do
to.
What are you asking me?
As to what?
exactly?
Did you
So
tell
sorry.
any other human being that they could come into your bedroom on April 22nd?
I did not tell anybody. I did not tell any human being to come into that they had permission to specifically enter my bedroom on April 22nd. However, I know for a fact other people did come into my bedroom on April 22nd.
Who were those people?
I don't know which housekeepers were working that day. I don't know if the house manager, Kevin, was working that day. I don't know if Andy was working that day. I don't know if Ash and Lily Rose were next door and coming into the office to get weed from their dad's office. I don't know.
Did you say weed from their dad's office?
Yes, the connecting apartment,
Taking some shots when she has her chance.
the one that they lived in, it's there's a connecting door between their apartment and Johnny's office where he keeps all of the weed. And so Ash and Lily Rose would have full access to his office.
While
All right,
you
pause.
And
were-
often would come into the apartment for that reason.
Okay, that's a good place to pause it. Often would come into the apartment for that reason. She says a few things here, and if you catch it, if you go back and listen and to what she said a few minutes ago, she had no idea who was working that day. She actually does. You'll find that out later. She actually goes to confront the very person who was working that day. So she does know who was working that day.
Yep.
She knows if Lily Rose and Lily Rose's boyfriend were next door, because she has already said that she was bouncing back and forth between the condos, and the connecting condos, penthouse 4, it's penthouse 3, 4, 5. To go from penthouse 3 to 5, you have to walk through 4. And she said that she was bouncing back and forth from, well, it is 3 to 5 because 5 is her closet. So she was packing that morning. She was bouncing between all the penthouses, what she said. So she does know if Lily Rose was there
Exactly.
and next door and everything.
So we're about to find out more.
But now
impeachment
she's like,
material.
well, now I need to throw as many people as I can under the bus. I don't know how many people had access to my phone, to my apartment, to
Yeah.
everything. She's just trying to make you think that this could be anybody. Anybody could have done this. I mean, if it wasn't the dog, which to her is the only plausible explanation, it could be anybody. Lily Rose even would come over to get weed. She literally
Yeah.
just throws that out there. She says, well, she was next door
Always.
because
So anybody could have sold the video to TMZ, and anybody could have pooped in the bed, according to Amber Heard.
you know, and she might have come over to get weed. I don't know. Like, she's just trying to make herself look like the last person who would do anything that could have any sort of negative connotation.
What's interesting about this too is on the stand at trial, she acted like she didn't want to bring the kids into it. She didn't want to do anything to hurt the kids. She would never say anything bad about the kids. Yet she does this in this deposition. That was not with the defamation case, but to me, that's her, not doing great things for one of the kids that she said she wanted to protect and cared so much about.
In terms of what she does or what she says, so she just throws everyone else under the bus for literally
person.
Johnny testified to that in the Virginia trial, and that will come into play here momentarily. But she's very much trying to get ahead of what she knows is coming.
Yep.
All right.
While you were in penthouse 3, on April 22nd, 2016, did you personally see any other person in your bedroom other than you and Raquel Pennington?
No, I don't recall anyone else being in my bedroom. However, I don't know, because I do not recall if the housekeepers came before I left or not. I don't remember if I saw them before I left.
Before you left on April 22nd, 2016, did you see any other person in penthouse 3 before you left?
I don't recall if I saw the housekeepers come before I left.
Okay, but other than the housekeeper,
Or the house manager.
okay, other than Rocky Pennington
Mhm.
and other than you,
Mhm.
is there any other person that you can identify you saw in the penthouse 3 on April 22nd, 2016, after you woke up?
Not that I recall.
Okay.
I think it's time for a lunch break.
Um,
It's 1:30.
I've got about 10 more minutes.
We're taking a lunch break. You ready for lunch? You want to go? Oh, it's 10 more minutes.
Well, if she has 10 more minutes, I'd rather wrap this up.
No, 10 more minutes before we break. I'd like to
Okay.
finish this line of questioning.
She thinks they're finishing for good.
Exactly.
We have 5 more hours left, Miss Hurd, but 10 more minutes just of questions before the lunch break.
Well, I'd rather power through, but I mean, I don't.
Listen,
I just
right.
get this shit over with.
We're breaking? Yeah, break.
We have a break.
I meant this.
10 more minutes.
Ooh, he was not happy with that. A little bit of honesty came out.
Oh, sorry.
So traumatized. So traumatized.
She forgot that the everything was still recording and we were still on the record. She forgot that because she was like, "Oh, sorry," and pointed to the video.
She's so annoyed being there.
I guess we're not breaking.
Oh, we're not.
We'll go for 10 more minutes. You'll finish this up and then we'll take a break.
Yeah, that's fine.
Miss Hurd, do you know someone by the name of Hilda Vargas?
Yes.
How long have you known Miss Vargas?
For now, almost 5 years.
Do you think of her as a good person?
Yes.
Do you think of her as a nice person?
Yes.
Okay. How often does she clean for you?
She works for Johnny, and she. I don't know her work schedule because sometimes I see her regularly, and then sometimes I go for a long time without seeing her.
Okay. Does she clean your areas where you live?
She cleaned the house where Johnny and I live on occasion.
Okay. Did she have any regular schedule, or did she just come whenever she wanted to?
I don't know what her schedule is.
Did you see her on certain days of the week?
It didn't seem to have a regular schedule, but I did see cleaning ladies most days of the week. They came almost every day.
Did you see Hilda Vargas on April 21? Do you know what Hilda Vargas looks like?
Yes.
Did you see her on April 21, 2016?
I don't remember seeing, I don't know if she was there on that day.
Did you see Hilda Vargas on April 22, 2016?
I can't remember. I don't know.
When was the last time you saw Hilda Vargas?
I saw Hilda at Johnny's, one of Johnny's West Hollywood houses, sometime right around the divorce.
Okay. And prior to that time, when was the last time you saw Hilda Vargas?
I don't recall.
Okay. And when you saw Hilda Vargas, you say you were at Johnny's another house?
Yeah, Johnny's main house, where he goes and lives every time we get in a fight. He moves to that house.
Ms. Hurd, when you say you saw
Legally, we call that an admission. An admission that he leaves whenever you get in a fight.
Hilda Vargas sometime after April 21, did you have a conversation with her?
I did.
Okay. And what was that conversation about?
About the information I received from Johnny.
Excuse me?
About information I received from Johnny. I talked to her about the information I received from Johnny through, I think he said it was through Kevin, through Hilda, then Kevin, and that Kevin had sent him a picture of dog shit. Dog feces. And that Hilda, so I asked Johnny when Johnny first informed me. He was the first person that told me about this. This was something I didn't know about until Johnny.
Sure, she didn't.
Johnny told me.
Yeah.
And at the time we were speaking on the phone, it had been after about a month of not hearing from him. And I assumed Johnny was high and have in one of his manic episodes where he goes into delusion. That's what I assumed.
Ms.
So
Hurd, I'm
I
gonna ask you to pause.
Sure.
And I'm gonna object as non-responsive and move to strike.
Okay.
I was asking you about a conversation.
I'm
I was
telling
asking you about a conversation you say you had with someone named Hilda Vargas. Do you understand my question?
No, your question asked me, as I understood it, your question was asking me what Hilda and I spoke about. And I responded the information Johnny gave me. And then you asked me to continue. So I was elucidating as to what that information was. When I attempted to do so, you interrupted me.
When you were
Pause it.
elucidating, Miss.
Okay, here's what I was talking about. And I know people don't like the interruptions, but it's whatever. So here's what I was talking about.
It's your channel, bro.
When she tells Blair, you asked me this, and then you asked me to continue. Blair did not ask her to continue. Blair asked a question. Amber rambled off and went way off the trail. And Blair was like, you're not even answering my question. She's like, well, I said this, and then you asked me to continue. No, she didn't. This is where I'm saying Amber is lying to Blair's face, saying, you said this just now, and she didn't even say it. Something also is interesting here when she says, and this was the first I was hearing about it. Johnny was the first I was learning about any of this. So just so you know, like when he asked me this, Johnny was the first I heard about it. And when she speaks about talking to Hilda, I'm not a body language expert by any stretch, but someone is lying. It's a telltale sign of someone lying when they piece together a sentence 2 words at a time.
So what's interesting about that is regardless of all of that, even if she's lying and if she's wrong, I still don't like the objection move to strike in a deposition because it's improper. And I think it invites other improper objections and motions to strike from the other side, which could just clog up the depo and make it slow. And in my opinion, not the best way to lawyer your way through a depo because it will make it look like this, like a circus.
Couple words at a time.
Booze Hilda if she
Instead, describe for me anything that Hilda Vargas said to you.
Hilda gave me, I asked Hilda if it was true that she took a picture. I asked Hilda if it was true if she took.
She gets so annoyed if the lawyers are doing anything but all eyes on her while she's answering a question.
A picture of Boo. I asked Hilda if she took a picture of Boo's dog shit, dog poop.
Try again.
And thank you. I asked Hilda if she took a picture of Boo's dog poop.
There we go.
Because the other housekeepers, when I asked them, probably the day prior, I said, guys, I heard from Johnny on this phone call, and I assumed Johnny was high and in a delusion, so I wrote it off, but then he kept talking about it and kept bringing it up, and I thought that was very strange. And then he texted me a picture of it. So I said, how did you have this text? Why do you have it? Why do you poop on your phone? And he said that Kevin sent it to him. Kevin from Hilda. Or no, from the housekeepers. So I asked the housekeepers, with whom I have great respect and in a great relationship. I think I would be shocked if they said otherwise. But I asked them who.
Again, she looks at her lawyers like, hopefully this doesn't come back to bite me. I would be shocked if they said otherwise.
Who took this picture? Because Johnny's been carrying around this picture for a month of Boo's dog shit. And
yeah, who do I got to kill?
Poop, and he's latched onto this delusion. And I want to know how this information, I want to know the custody of this information and why no one told me, why no one said, why no one sent me this picture? Why did it go to Johnny in the way it did? Because I felt like it aided in his delusion. So the other housekeepers told me it was Hilda that took the picture or saw it. They didn't even see it. They don't know. And I asked Hilda when I saw her, I just happened to run into
Bullshit.
her
It was
at,
another housekeeper that told Hilda to come
Johnny Quest
upstairs.
Hollywood Place. And I said, Hilda, do you know anything about this? And she said, well, yeah, I took a picture of it because it looked really big. It didn't look like Boo. And I said, but, you know, what do you
So she's admitting that Hilda did not think it was Boo's dog poop.
mean by that? And she said, well, it was in the bed. And I said, but Boo shits, God, I'm sorry. Boo uses the bathroom in the bed all the time. And she said, oh, I mean, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And I said, you don't know that because when that happens, I clean it up and then wrap the sheets up. And I always, every single time this has happened before, wrap the sheets up and either wash them myself or put them aside and tell the housekeepers when they're doing laundry. By the way, within this pile, be careful. There is, we use the bathroom again.
Pause
And
it.
so it's
Jesus.
cleaned up more or less every time. And
If she tells the housekeepers,
That's exactly what I was thinking.
hey, I wrapped up
Then
I
they would
wrapped up an
know.
Easter egg of a turd
In the
these
sheets.
And they
in the
wouldn't be
sheets,
surprised.
be careful, it's in there, then the housekeepers would know that there is a potty problem with the dogs.
Right.
But now she's trying to be like, how could you know?
Yeah, and she's already talked about how the housekeepers were all talking about it and it was all this big deal, and she wanted to know how Johnny found out about this. If it was happening all the time, why would it be weird? Why would it be a weird thing?
How could you have known? Well, they know because you're literally saying, I tell them when she does, but now she's trying to act like she's, again, speaking for everyone else. She's speaking for Hilda, acting like I'm so sorry. And yet that conversation probably never happened like that. That I'm so apologetic. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. How could you have known? I always clean it up for you. Or Johnny sends her the thing. Her
Was alerted to the poo by
exactly what it
said, if Hilda,
there's dog poop in these sheets, but yet also claims the housekeepers never knew the dog pooped. So it's
Yeah,
just
it makes no sense.
always contradictions.
constant.
All right. Frustrated.
Hilda was working for us very rarely these days in the penthouses. Like she was coming only
It's convenient.
only she was not there every day. So I had a conversation with Hilda and said, if I had ever seen that Boo did that, if I had ever noticed it, I would never have left it there. I would have cleaned it up. I'd never do that to you guys. I'm so sorry that I didn't clean it up. It was because I didn't see it. And I just don't want you to think that I was so disrespectful as just to leave dog poop in the bed for you to clean up.
Even that just
Didn't
seems
see
I
it,
was
didn't smell
worried
it,
that
nothing.
she might think that I was worried that she might be offended that I would just leave our dog's poop in the bed. It's rude.
Did you say anything else to Hilda Vargas during this conversation
I don't know.
at Johnny's house?
We had I don't know what else we talked about. I think it was primarily about the poop.
About did you refer to it with Miss Vargas as poop or shit?
I think I used the word mierda. I spoke to her in Spanish.
You used the word merda?
Mierda.
Mierda. Okay. And did you tell Hilda
Sounds like a
Vargas
little-
at any time
It's like a weird flex right there, right? That was just like kind of a weird flex.
during the
Or
conversation?
maybe I said caca. I can't remember if I used the word caca or mierda.
It's been 10 minutes.
Did
Can
you
we please-
tell Hilda
sorry.
Vargas
I'm
at
sorry.
any time during the conversation you had with her at Johnny's house that the pictures you took of the caca or mierda have destroyed my
So
marriage?
weird.
No.
Did you at any time in
Yes,
the
she did.
conversation,
Yes, she did.
Hilda Vargas?
Sometimes it's obvious when a lawyer is reading something off a piece of paper that you've written. And so you should be a little more nervous than just blatantly saying no like that when it's not true. It's not a good look later on in litigation.
Reference your marriage being hurt by the fact that she had taken these pictures.
I referenced my marriage being hurt as a result of the chain of communication and how it was communicated from one person to the next, from the next to the next to the next person, and then ultimately to Johnny, who clearly has been in a very bad state and is clearly in one of his downward spirals. And during these battles with sobriety, when he's losing, he is very susceptible to delusions and stimulation. He's very paranoid. And because he's in one of those states, any information that is delivered to him in this way it can have repercussions that are very damning.
Can you, this is my last
Last
question.
question.
Okay. And
Best part.
then I'm gonna have
Best.
one about what I'm gonna ask her to do during the break, but that's it, okay?
This is the best part.
The
coming
one
up, I
before
swear.
that question is, can you describe for us with your hands how big your dog is? Boo.
Boo is, she's a square.
Okay.
She's about this big.
Okay.
She's like a brick. She's
Okay.
a brick.
Let the record reflect.
You're gonna.
Can you
I'm gonna have you.
describe
I'm gonna have you
approximately how
rewind
many
this here in a
inches
minute.
you are saying Boo
Let's
is
see.
in length?
How big is? How big is this?
What kind of dog is she?
She is a Yorkie.
A Yorkie.
Okay,
The dog is now larger
Um,
than Brutus.
Can you describe how long she is? How much
She's
she weighs?
okay. So she's probably this long.
Okay. Do you have an approximation? I only
foot
want
and
you
a
to
half.
tell.
Looks like a
what-
foot
what
and a
you
half,
believe
2
is
feet.
true. Do you know how much she weighs?
She weighs.
Don't guess.
4
I don't know
pounds.
how much she weighs.
Okay. Okay. So,
But she's almost as wide as she is long. She's a brick. She's a cube.
a cube or a brick. Okay.
Okay.
So
I've never heard somebody describe a dog like that.
Before we pause, I'm going to ask you
All right,
during the
pause
break.
it. Pause it
to
real quick,
please-
Jax, because you're gonna
fine.
run this back. You're gonna run this back. This is the best part of the entire thing, because she's like, "How big is your dog?" Her eyes get this big, and she's like, "Okay, here's how she knows that." One, she left the poo. She's responsible for the poo, and the poo is far too large for this dog.
Right.
Because she automatically starts with her hands like shoulder width. That's already bigger than the dog. This dog is 4 pounds. There are records, and again, if without technical difficulties, I'd have pulled them all up. But they're out there where there is like a vet or it's a groomer's thing where these dogs are weighed, and they're like 4 to 5 pound dogs. These dogs are 8 to 9 inches max in length. Okay, she's already larger than this dog is, and then it just keeps growing.
Yep.
And by the end of it, she is wider than shoulder. She is 2.5 feet long, and she's saying the dog is as wide as it is long.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And it's tough. And this is the problem, right, with Amber Heard's testimony as a whole, is so many people watched this stuff beforehand. So they already believed her to be a liar because there were so many inconsistencies or things that just were not true that she testified to here, said on national TV, as we saw, wrote in documents and in text messages, as we saw throughout the trial, contradicting other people's testimonies, contradicting her own testimony. And this whole dog thing is just it's one of those things where sometimes when you say somebody does something wrong, it's difficult to prove. It's like, you know it, but sometimes it's difficult to prove. Well, right here, this is a much easier one to prove that what she was saying was not, in fact, true. And that's why it feels like a really strong point Brian's trying to make here.
She is describing a 50-pound animal, is what she's describing.
Yeah.
And why is she doing it? Because she knows it has to be a large dog. It has to be a large dog. She's like, I have to describe a large dog because I know it was a large amount of poop. So that's what she's doing. So then she's even asked, well, how big is that? How many inches are you saying that is? She won't say how many inches Boo is, and she won't say how many inches this is, because it's about 2.5 feet. Because if she says this is about 2.5 feet, she's describing a world record breaking teacup Yorkie. She knows that she's full of crap when it comes to that. If she says, well, this is about 8 or 9 inches, she has zero credibility when it comes to anything else. Well, Johnny was 20 feet from me. Well, was he 20 feet from you, or was he 80 feet from you? Because apparently this is 8 or 9 inches. So she knows she can't even estimate how long this is because she knows she's lying. And either way, she's going to get caught in it. But she knows she has to describe a very large dog here.
Yeah.
To tell
What
you believe the truth. Do you know how much she weighs?
She weighs.
Don't guess.
I don't
Coaching
know how much
her
she weighs.
to make sure to say, we
But
don't say
she's
how much she weighs.
almost as wide as she is long. She's a brick. She's a
Cube.
She's a cube.
A cube
I don't
or a
think she
brick.
is, but
Okay.
Okay.
So
You're gonna ask
before we pause, I'm going to ask you during the break to please do the following.
Okay.
Would you be kind enough to retrieve your cell phone from the car?
Don't answer the question yet.
Okay. And would you also? Oh well, I'd like her to answer the question.
No, I'm going to
don't
instruct
know.
you not to answer this. And I already told you that you should be asking us about production of documents types of questions. It's
May I
improper.
also ask you during the break to review the documents that you provided in these proceedings today. And do that during the time we have for the break.
Okay,
May I ask you to do that?
you've asked her to do that, and we're taking a break now. It's not a question to be answered.
How long are we taking?
You know,
We need an
Okay.
hour?
Well,
Food's here?
it may force us to come back tomorrow, but yes. I mean,
For
I'd like
taking
to-
a lunch break?
I'd like to take 30 minutes, if that's okay.
No, we're taking an hour. It's intense. She's talking about being abused. You know, she needs a break. We all need a break.
We're going off the record.
Yes.
I think we're going off the record now.
The time is approximately 1:43 p.m. and we're going off the record.
All right. It's intense. She's talking about being abused. I mean, I don't think they're being unreasonable asking for an hour for lunch. That's a totally normal lunch time during a deposition, especially a long one. But Blair is also right that if that means we can't finish today, that means we can't finish today. We have to come back tomorrow. That's also fair. I don't think there's any judge that would cut off Johnny Depp's lawyers at this point. In case you're wondering how long can you take a deposition, that's a question I always get. There's no specific time frame. It just can't be harassing, and you can't do it to bother the witness and to frustrate the process. I think they would have a very good argument that Amber Heard is the reason this depo is taking forever, and Amber Heard's lawyer is the reason this depo is taking forever. So if they need more time, I would be very surprised if a judge did not give it to them. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Another chunk, not much to be learned. It wasn't that exciting. Let me know what your favorite part of the depo was so far. Let me know if you have any questions. And let me know if you're done with this. If you don't want to see any more reactions to this depo, it's up to you guys. You guys drive the content here. If you do want to continue to see me analyze and break down and react to these depos, let me know in the comments below. Let me know by liking the video on your way out. But for now, that's all we got. Thanks for being with us.